Okay, it is now time for the next A to Z mini rework and changes that I would make. Next up is Corki, the Daring Bombardier. Okay, mixed damage, this is true. Style is pretty split. More auto attack based, this is true. Difficulty 2, I would say this is true. Damage, definitely. Toughness, just about all this is actually really true. This is all true. We have now had 2 champions where this is perfectly right. The autopilot Corki loves 2 things above all others: flying and his glamorous mustache. Though not necessarily in that order, after leaving Bandle City, he settled in Piltover and fell in love with his wondrous machines he found there. He dedicated himself to the development of flying contraptions, leading an aerial defense force of seasoned veterans known as the Screaming Yip Snakes. Calm under fire, Corki patrols the skies around his adopted home and has never encountered a problem that a good missile barrage couldn't solve. I love that. Oh my god. Yeah, his abilities. Hextech munitions. Corki's basic attacks deal a percentage of their damage as magic instead of physical. Every once in a while, the package arrives in Corki's base to be picked up, temporarily granting him out-of-combat movement speed and upgrading Valkyrie into special delivery. Phosphorus bomb. I don't know why I said philosopher. Corki fires a flash bomb at a target location, dealing magic damage to enemies in the area. This attack additionally reveals units in the area for a duration. Valkyrie. Corki flies a short distance, dropping bombs that create a trail of fire that damages opponents who remain in it. Gatling gun. Corki's Gatling gun rapidly fires in a cone in front of him, dealing damage and reducing enemy armor and magic. Missile barrage. Corki fires a missile forward his target location that explodes on impact, dealing damage to enemies in the area. Corki stores missiles over time, up to a maximum. Every third missile fired will be a big one, dealing extra damage. Oh! Well then. I'm learning a few more things about Corki from all this, honestly. One, I didn't know that his E lowered magic resist and cooldown. And I also didn't know that his R does whatever the heck it's called. Has, like, the third missile does bonus damage. Okay. Now, Corki is a bit interesting. I would say that very few people actually know how to play Corki right. He's very poke-oriented, mainly with his Q and his R, only really using his E every now and then when enemies are close to him, and his W is mostly an escape or an engage tool, depending on the scenario. His passive is what I would call a bit much in a few degrees, and the second part of his passive, giving Valkyrie special delivery, is a bit annoying to me. Yeah. So honestly, I wouldn't do any major things with him, like full-on reworks. I would just do little changes, such as his passive. I would say that his passive, when it comes to auto attacks doing magic damage, is a bit annoying. I wouldn't say it's anything major, out of this world, but I would say that, the damage that is caused by it is very surprising, especially when he has items such as Trinity Force, and you'd be very surprised how much magic damage mixed with regular damage comes off from that. But I guess that's, kind of his purpose, is to be more of, a split mage and an ADC at the same time. So I think it's okay, but it's still a little annoying to me. So I wouldn't actually even change the damage, I guess. I would say if anything, I would lower the percentage of how much is converted only a little bit. But what I would change is when it comes to picking up the package in special delivery, I would change it so that it only gives him special delivery and that it doesn't give him the bonus movement speed from actually picking up the package. The reason this is just because I think it's a little bit stupid how much movement he gains from that alone. Like, as you could see, his special delivery is almost double the size of like the regular Valkyrie. And then he also just like gaining all this movement speed in general, like it's in my opinion just a bit much. Like, as you could see, there's the special delivery distance, and that's the regular distance. Like, they're much shorter. So, and not only that, but you can use special delivery and then immediately use Valkyrie right afterward, like with no hesitation or break in between them if you really want to. And because of that, I would say that I would take away that regular movement speed. His Q, ugh. It's a very unique poke tool that's very difficult to dodge. If anything, I would probably just like shorten its area, but I don't think it really needs that. Most of the things when it comes to Corki really doesn't need it to happen. It's just like something that could. Valkyrie, I think it's fine just the way it is. It really doesn't need any change. It's a dash. There you go. His E, I also think, is basically fine the way that it is. I don't entirely like the fact now that I've learned that it lowers MR magic resistant armor, but at the same time, I don't think it's that big of a deal because, as I said, it's mostly used in close combat. I would just make the what's it called, the range of it a bit more definitive, because as you can see it now, like, it's just reaching him just with like the points, and it's definitely something that you'd be really surprised of, like, how far does this go, where am I safe type deal, and something along those lines. I would shorten how many of these he can stack because, oh my god, is it a lot. That's really all I would do when it comes to that regard. I'm fine with the fact of it doing like the big one every third shot, doing bonus damage, but I would honestly only make him be capable of holding like a max of 9 to 12. And that they regen just a little bit slower, and then they get to a fast regen upon later levels. I think it honestly has been changed a little bit, because I remember, like, way in the past when he could hold, like, 30 of these stinking things at a time, and there was never a moment where you were going to run out of them. It just wasn't going to happen. But overall, I do think that it is fine the way it is now. I think maybe, like, range-wise, because I think it goes, like, a little bit farther than that. It surprisingly has a good range. But at the same time, like, I think that he is very poke-oriented, so it's kind of like what you would expect. He's supposed to keep, like, a distance, weaving auto attacks between abilities, and using his W, as I said, like, yet again, just to, like, either to keep his distance or to head right in with his E. So overall, I don't think he's kind of like Bard, as I was saying, where I don't really have any definitive changes for him. Usually when it comes to champions, I know exactly what I want them to be lowered with. I think that certain aspects of them are very stupid and unnecessary. But when it comes to Corki, I'm honestly pretty okay with his kit as it is now. I think that, yes, it's definitely annoying to be poked constantly. If anything, I would probably lower his scalings, just because he is a pretty early late game, or he's good all throughout the game, which is the only thing that I think is a bit annoying on him. Now I'm fine with him being annoying when it comes to his passive, but I think that when his abilities still chunk you later into the game, it is a bit much, especially because he is like an ADC in general. Well, as I said, like, he's more of like an ADC mage mix, and I think that if anything, I would just lower his scalings before all else, because late game, you can get one-shot hit by him super hard, And by the fact of like just how much mobility he has mixed in with what his one-shot potential is, because I said he's like a mage and an ADC mixed into one, it's just a bit much that I think should be fidgeted with a little bit by maybe early on keeping him the suppressive mage that he is that can poke a lot, and then later on turning him much more into like an ADC that does magic damage type deal. So I would definitely mess with all of his scalings, and I would change, as I said, his passive to not give movement speed. But besides that, I think that he is fine. I would maybe lower how much his passive converts into magic damage. I think his Q, all of these things I'm about to say, including what I just said about his passive, are really something that doesn't need to be changed. But if they were going to nerf him for whatever reason, this is probably what I would think they would do anyway if they were going to change, is to lower that, decrease like the AoE of his Q. His W honestly stay the same, his E can stay the same, and his ult can stay the same. As I said, just lower maybe how many he can hold to like 9 to 12, because I currently don't know, honestly, because the last time I played him, it was like forever and a half ago, when he could hold like 30 something, and it was just like, really? So yeah, and both 9 and 12s are like multiplications of 3, and I'm keeping that just because of how the third shot explodes. But that's really all I would do with Corki. I think in general he is pretty fine. He's a bit too, I would say he's a bit strong in some situations, but he's very easily destroyed. He is super one-shottable, and yeah, he has a lot of mobility with his W, but at the same time, it won't save him from everything. Okay, skins. He has a good amount. UFO Corki, I think, is just a comedic, funny skin that I'm fine with. Ice Toboggan Corki. This one I just think is stupid. I know it's after like the Olympics and everything, but I think it looks stupid. I think in general it's pretty stupid. But you know, like, I wouldn't get rid of it. If anything, I would just like give it a visual update. Right now it's just a bit stupid. Red Baron Corki I like, just because it is after like the Red Baron and everything, and yeah, in general I like the idea behind it and everything. Hot Rod Corki, this one I like never see, but it's I think it's basically just his main skin just remodeled, honestly. Like it's pretty stupid. I think that he has a bit much of comedic skins, but yeah, I think it's okay. Yet again, I would say maybe just like a visual update. Earth Rider, I think this one is the dumbest, stupidest skin ever, and just ugh. Dragon Wing Corki. I think this one looks really cool. I really like it in game and out. In general, I just really like this skin. Fnatic it's honestly, it's okay. I would say that they could definitely have made this a bit better, but I think in general it's still pretty good. And Arcade Corki, this one just looks awesome. I think in general it's just a really good skin that it looks really, really cool, and I like what they did with it. Now, what other skins do I really have an idea for a Corki? See, I think he could do what Caitlyn and them have. Let me see this one. Like the Pulse Fire skin. I think he would do pretty well with that. Same with like Ezreal, how both of them have the Pulse Fire. I also wish he had like some sort of like a reverse skin, such as him being in like Zaun. Where's Warwick? Here Warwick is. We can make it so that he has more of like, where is it? Did I seriously just, I could have went the other way. His gray, or feral, where's the gray skin? Oh wow, it's literally just the next in. Or like this, like gray Corki or feral Corki, something like, well, not feral, because that's obviously like when Warwick is feral. but something like Gray Corki, just like a Corki that's I know Gray Corki or Gray Warwick is like undead and everything, but I want it more to be like this, like vats and metal and poison and just something like that, and like green ooze, not really like a mixture of him being like super metallic, but also a mixture of him just being like super dark and gloomy, kind of like what I get from Grey Warwick, which is why I brought that up. Um, so basically, just like a gray and gloomy Warwick that will have like the green eyes and just the vats. There'll be green vats. His bombs will be colored green type deal. It'll be like a gold and black metal all over him, something like that is what I would like for like a future Corki, and that's really all I have is just like a reverse one for Zon, and as I said earlier, the Pulsefire one maybe, just because I think that they could combine basically these two skins and start them out as just some like hunk of junk looking flycraft and turn it into like a full on spaceship towards the end. I think that would look really nice and cool. And then, as I said before, just having like the Zon skin. And that would be Corki the Daring Bombardier. So, yet again, like this one was a bit different. I didn't have all that much to say about him. He was more of like I'm okay with you, but you do annoy me in some aspects. But he's not completely ridiculous or broken. I'd say, as I said, like he's just a bit too strong throughout the entire game, and I think that his scalings need to be fixed above all else. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you happen to have like a comment that you either agree or disagree with me, or you have to say anything about like all my ideas, criticize me as much as you want. Say other ideas for Corkis that you thought of. Maybe if you'd like can imagine the splash art of Gray Corki or Zon Corki mixed with the what else, Pulsefire Corki, and you want to like make a little drawing or something and like send me a link, I will gladly like look at it potentially, if as long as I can confirm the link and everything. Like the link is safe and it's not going to bring me to something stupid. Okay, but thank you very much for watching this video. I hope to see you all next time, and I'm going to bid you all adieu. Goodbye.